Hello, Alex aqui. Então, antes de começar esse episódio, eu quero dar algumas atualizações sobre o inglês de Necru. Em 2020, nós vamos ter 12 challenges diferentes, ou seja, é um novo produto completamente diferente para vocês. A cada mês, a gente vai ter um challenge diferente um do outro, claro. Então, por exemplo, nós teremos challenges sobre como melhorar o seu vocabulário, como fazer good first impressions, como ter o inglês melhor e mais natural possível durante conversas com nativos de inglês. Eu estou muito animada e quero muito que você participe. Então, se você gosta de nós, se você gosta do nosso trabalho, se você gosta aqui do Inglês no Micro Rádio e quer ficar de uma vez por todas sério com o seu inglês, começando agora em 2020, vá lá no nosso site inglesdenecru.com. Now, on with the show! Oi, pessoal! Bem-vindos a mais um episódio aqui do Inglês de Micro Rádio. Nós temos uma surpresa para comemorar o 4th of July e os tutores americanos do Cambly. O Cambly está fazendo uma super promoção nos planos anuais dele. Ou seja, você pode conseguir uma aula grátis, mais 40% de desconto em qualquer plano anual com um cupom que a gente vai te falar agora, que é inglês 4th, 4th of July. Eu vou deixar tudo escrito direitinho nas nossas show notes para vocês não terem problema com código, ou vocês podem acessar direto no link que a gente vai colocar lá. Então é muito bacana e, enfim, eu acho que vocês podem aproveitar, porque, gente, 40% de desconto num plano anual, meu Deus do céu, junto com uma aula grátis, não dá para perder. Então é do dia 1º de julho até o dia 8 de julho que está valendo essa promoção. Então não perca essa oportunidade, tá bom? Now, on with the show!
Hello. Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Inglês no Micro Rádio. Today I am here with the one, the only, Felipe. Felipe, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I am doing okay. Can't complain. So, if you have not been listening to the show this week or the last few episodes, we have been talking about different states in the United States. And we think this is just a good opportunity to learn more about different places, different people, different cultures. And I wanted to have Felipe on the show because you have specific experience for just pretty much just one state in the U.S., which is the state of Alabama.
Yep. I lived in Alabama for a year, so I love it. Yeah, it was a great experience.
Okay. So, Felipe, just to be honest, to start, I'm from the South. I consider myself a Southerner, but I don't know too much about Alabama. I've driven through Alabama a lot of times. I've been to Mobile a few times, which is nice. I've been to Tuscaloosa maybe once and Montgomery maybe once, but not in like 10 years. So you're the expert today. So first, just tell us, what were you doing there? Like, how was the experience?
Okay, so, well, there's this program in Brazil, or there was actually. It was called Ciências Sem Fronteiras, or Science Without Borders, and they would send, especially engineering students, they would send them abroad, either to the United States and Australia at first, if I'm not mistaken, and then at some point they're just sending them everywhere, like Germany, Portugal, everywhere. So, right. And then you got to choose the country, but sometimes it didn't work. Like my friend, he wanted to go to the United States, but he ended up going to Australia. But you can choose where exactly, because, well, you know, Brazilians, like we want to go to New York or California, but
yeah, I don't know any Brazilians personally that say Alabama. That's where I'm going.
Yeah. And then when they said Alabama, I didn't really know like this thing about the South of the United States. I just knew Alabama from the song. And
And what song are you referring to?
Sweet Home Alabama from Leonard Skinner.
Leonard Skinner. Yeah, everyone knows that song. Sweet Home Alabama. Yeah, I'm not going to try right now. Okay, so you applied for this program. You didn't really know anything about the South. You just said you wanted to go to the U.S. and they put you in Alabama.
Exactly.
Cool. Okay, what city?
Birmingham.
Birmingham, Alabama. I've actually been to Birmingham one time.
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool.
Okay, so tell us about it. Well, first, let me get a sense of how was your English when you first arrived?
Well, I could write a little bit. No, I could definitely write some things. And I could read very well, but I couldn't listen. I remember I took some classes like 2 or 3 weeks before that, and I had a English teacher back then, and I couldn't, seriously, like she was trying to, I don't remember the TV show. I think it was Friends or Sex in the City or something like that. And we were trying to watch it without subtitles, and I was like, there's no way I can understand this. But I said, I'm going anyways. I don't mind.
Yeah. How old were you at the time?
I was 21.
Okay. Cool. And as you see now, Felipe is what? You're 27, 28?
28, yeah.
28. And you speak excellent English nowadays. So you arrived, you really didn't know too much English. Your English wasn't great. And you said you really didn't know anything about the South in general.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, about that, I didn't know that, especially Birmingham, the majority of the population there, they are black, right? So they speak in a different way. They have a different accent. And that was like, I already didn't know a lot of English, and that just added up, because they have this really thick accent.
Yeah. So I would say two things there. First, in general, in the South, it varies a little bit depending on the state, but the South has its own accent. And I speak like a Southerner. Obviously, when I'm teaching, I don't know if my accent changes a little bit. And then also, linguistically speaking, we would probably say something like African American vernacular. But yeah, black people in the South tend to speak a little bit differently than white people in the South. So you have a lot of difficult things to deal with as a 21-year-old trying to figure out what to do there. So how did your experience start? Were you totally lost or?
Well, so after I was taking English classes for 2 months, and that really helped. Not because of the classes itself, but because like everything was in English, so they couldn't speak Portuguese. Because here in Brazil, people would speak Portuguese if you don't understand what they're saying. And there, it was only English, and that really helped. And I remember this one time I went to Subway, and this guy,
The sandwich place?
the sandwich place,
Okay.
exactly.
Not the metro.
Not the metro, no.
Okay.
And I went to Subway, and this guy, he had what you just said. He was black, and he was from the South, so it was very hard for me to understand. I remember him saying, "What kind of cheese?" But he said it like, "What kind of cheese?" And I couldn't understand. And I was just pointing at some point, like, I want this, I want that.
Yeah, I've noticed that's always one of the most difficult things for me. Like in Portuguese, the thing I get most nervous about is like spoleto or restaurants where you can choose and they're asking you a lot of different options. Yeah, that's tough. Okay. So you were there for a year. Did you have the opportunity to learn a lot, to make friends, to travel a little bit?
Yeah, I went to UAB, University of Alabama, not the famous one, which is in Tuscaloosa,
Hmm.
but that was in Birmingham, and it was very international. And as you expect, like we made a lot of international friends but some Americans too, but mostly international people from Saudi Arabia or Turkey or just like everywhere, Japan,
Right.
and yeah, so that's what happened. And like at some point, I don't remember exactly when, but I really started to actually enjoy and like the accent, because that like in my brain, people there, especially the people who are serving at the restaurants, they're really kind to me, and that kind of like it made a connection. So Southern accent equals to kind people. This is how I felt.
Yeah. Yeah. For those of you who do not know, Southern hospitality is it's like a thing. A lot of Southerners are, despite our many flaws, we are known to be like a very kind and welcoming and will feed you food and be nice to you.
Exactly.
Cool. I think that's a really important thing to think about because I had the same click for me with Brazilians. Like when I made my first friend in Brazil, I was like, oh, Brazilians are cool. And this is what I wanted to. I want to hang out with them. So it was never really about the language itself, or at least not in the first place. So, how long would you say it took you to really feel comfortable with the language, the accent?
Well, I remember getting there, and I think in the first 2 months, I couldn't really understand much, but I would do just the basics. I remember at Starbucks, I would be like, I want a cappuccino, like grande, because like at Starbucks you say grande, small, like they have venti, they have the name.
Tall. Yeah, tall is small. Yeah, so stupid.
And I remember saying like I was trying to rehearse when I was in line, and, and I would say like something like, I want a cappuccino. And they would be like, with or without sugar. And that was too much. I would say yes.
Shit. Yeah. Yeah, that's always hard.
So I remember
Yeah.
that in the first 2 months. But after some time, I remember being very frustrated because like I had a lot of Brazilian friends, but I wanted to be able to communicate, and I like writing, I like talking. So I didn't want to say I'm good. I wanted to say like, yeah, it's not being that good because of this and that. So I started seeing a counselor. It's kind of like a therapist kind of thing.
Hmm.
And it was actually where I felt more comfortable speaking.
Yeah.
Because like she was paying to talk, she was being paid to talk to me by
Yeah.
someone. So that was around the third month, I think. And I would say after 6 months, I was able to speak. And especially sometimes when I was drinking, that would improve my
Yeah.
speaking.
Yeah. A couple of interesting things there. I think normally about the 6 month mark, in my experience, and with a lot of our students, that's where really people kind of hit their stride and kind of get into the flow of the language. Um, in drinking, yeah, it helps, but it's always a delicate balance. I feel like if I have like 3 beers, my Portuguese is awesome. And then, like, after 5 beers, my Portuguese is terrible. Cool. So, Felipe, can you tell me a little bit about Birmingham? I've only been once. Don't really remember anything about it. Did you like the city?
Oh, well, I did. The public transportation is not that good, but I could do everything like at the university. So they have a really nice rec center where I could work out and just chill, like meet my friends. And everything was kind of close, so we could do pretty much everything. And one of my American friends, she had a car. So we would normally go to a restaurant or to the mall, but not very often. So I think when you go to university, and I think it's the same here in Brazil, like everybody's kind of poor, so we do everything in campus and you look for deals,
Yeah.
student night and I don't know, something like that.
Yeah. In this case, you would say on campus.
On campus. Okay.
Yeah. Cool. And did you have the opportunity to travel to other places or other cities in Alabama?
I went to Atlanta, but that's not Alabama. It's actually Georgia, right? But
Mm-hmm.
it was very, very close, and it had the Six Flags, but I didn't go. Like, we went one day, but it was closed because of a storm, apparently. And I went to Huntsville.
Huntsville, Alabama.
Yeah, twice actually. I went there to the space station, something.
Yeah. I can't remember exactly what they have in Huntsville, but something important happened in Huntsville.
Yeah, and then I looked it up, and apparently the first rocket to put humans on the moon was built there in Huntsville.
Wow. You learn something new every day. Cool. Did you go to Montgomery at all?
No, I didn't. And people were saying like Montgomery is the capital, but Birmingham is as important as Montgomery in terms of like size and economy.
Yeah, that's something we've noticed in other episodes too, that a lot of the times in the US, the capital city of the state, sometimes it's just the political capital. It's like where the state house and the courts are, but it's not necessarily the biggest or the most important city.
Yeah. And one thing that happened there too, I thought that was funny. Like, I went to Huntsville twice because one of my friends' family used to live there, and she's American. She was one of my American friends, but her family, I think they're from the Philippines. And like, this is when I actually understood that Southern hospitality, like they're really, really nice to me, but they would call me Hiki because every Latino person would look like Enrique Iglesias. But that was like a joke because they're also from somewhere else, you know? But that was like, it made me feel at home.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I have a lot of things to say about that I'm probably not going to, but that's just a good piece of advice. If you're visiting the US and you are Brazilian, people are not going to remember that. They're going just to say that you're from some random country in Latin America. But most of the time, it's not like malintentioned. People are just trying to be nice and struggling a little bit. Cool. Any other things you want to tell listeners about Alabama?
No, not really. Just visit. I know people told me, you're crazy, you're going to Alabama and there's nothing to do there. But I think it was one of the best years of my life. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a great piece of advice too. If someone says, like, if someone from a country says, no, that place is boring, there's nothing to do, that means as a foreigner, it's probably where you want to go. Like, that's where you're going to see normal life. And that's really cool.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, thanks for coming on the show, Felipe. We'll get you back on sometime soon. And we will talk to you guys tomorrow.
Bye.
Muito obrigada por ter escutado mais um episódio aqui do nosso Inglês no Micro Rádio. Quando eu falo nosso, eu realmente quero dizer eu, Foster e vocês, né? A gente faz isso tudo pensando em vocês. E, além disso, nós temos produtos feitos para vocês lá no nosso site inglesnecru.com. E lá você vai poder ver os challenges, né? Nós temos um challenge novo a cada mês. Quando que Sound School vai abrir de novo? O que nós estamos planejando para esse mês? Tudo isso você pode acessar lá no inglesnecru.com. Vale muito a pena. Nós temos muito orgulho do novo site. Tudo está funcionando direitinho, então vá lá, deixa seu e-mail para você saber as nossas novidades, o que a gente está criando desse lado. Então é isso. Dei meu recadinho de final de episódio. Espero te ver no próximo. Então é isso, hein? Bye!